Hello. How are we all doing today? Get down the chat fixed. We're doing sweet rolls. There's a person. Yes. How was the music this time? Was something different? Well, don't be sore. Don't do that. Yes, we're doing nerdy sweet rolls seen in like Skyrim and Oblivion, Fallout, and there's some in lore for Lord of the Rings because hobbits would naturally eat sweet rolls, which is a ton of butter. Oh my God, we're gonna go through all this butter. So let's get started. I'm going to wash my hands a lot in this one because it's going to be messy. Disclaimer: I have not made sweet rolls from scratch, I think, since I was a teenager. So this could be an adventure. This could be needing the fire brigade, and yeah, so it's going to be. I have all the stuffs out. I've got a very busy kitchen in here today. There is a lot of butter. There is a lot of butter. Uh, so as I go through stuff, I will kind of talk about how much stuff is. I did not pre-measure things this time because I'm dumb. So we're gonna get to go through all of that. So let me get my hands washed and get my thing on, and we'll get started. Give me one sec. We're in the mic yet because I'm dumb. And I was thinking I need to not put it on until after I put the apron on so it doesn't rub on it while I'm um, moving around. Because if I put on my shirt, then it rubs. So yeah, give me one sec. Um, if you're on Twitch, my son made a new icon for me as a chair. I was gifted a very nice chair because I have vertigo, and so I wouldn't fall. He's like, "Good, someone to put the chair up." I guess I put the chair up. So the icon there. I hope it said it was there. Let us. Where's my thing? Okay. All hail the chaos. Yeah. When I made the Nuka Cola, it was very messy in here. After the counters were very, very sticky. It was a lot of sugar, so we could have an equally messy mess. But I have confidence in this recipe. It is. I have in the Fallout cookbook. There's a recipe for sweet rolls. There's also one of my Hobbit cookbooks, but I'm not going to make those because those have a longer rise time of like 2.5 hours, and I don't want to. That's a long time. This is a shorter one. It promises to give similar results. So let's cross our fingers and let's hope for some nice, fluffy, gooey, buttery, drippy, 9,000 calorie piece sweet roll. So I have my chair here. I have my kitchen there. So I guess we should get started, right? For our dough, this is going to get busy here. It says we need 2 3/4 cup flour, which is 344 grams. Spoon and level plus more is needed because we're going to roll some stuff out. We need 1/4 cup or 500 grams of granulated sugar. We need 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 cup or 180 milliliters of whole milk, 3 tablespoons or 43 grams of salted butter, 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. That's like 1 packet. And 1 egg at room temperature, and that's just the dough. Then the filling is going to be 3 tablespoons or 43 grams of butter, 1/3 cup or 67 grams of packed light or dark brown sugar, and 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon. And then the cream cheese icing is 4 ounces of full fat block cream cheese. It's 113 grams, which I'm going to have to measure because I couldn't find a block, so I had to get this. So we're going to get to scoop it out and make it work. 2 tablespoons of butter. I did say it was butter, right? I did warn you guys there's a lot of butter. And 3/4 cups of confectioner sugar, which is 80 grams, and a teaspoon of vanilla. So if you're on a diet or if you're watching your blood sugar, this is not for you. So there's a disclaimer that this is not healthy food. This is absolutely not healthy. Well, it's good for the soul. Sometimes we need that carb load for our mental load. So yes, we got spice. Okay. Step one. Whisk the flour, sugar, and salt in a large bowl and then set aside because we're going to do a lot of stuff to it. Okay. So I have my large bowl. And let's see, where was it? I need the ingredient list again because I don't have it memorized. It is not safe. No, it is absolutely not safe. So flour I can measure out. One good thing is I grabbed a little bitty thing of flour. This is all-purpose flour. So you don't need, I would not use strong flour for this. When you use strong flour, it gives you a different texture, and we don't want that. So all-purpose flour or plain flour is what you need. So 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. There is a measurement here for this thing, but I'm not going to futz with it for the flour because that one I can measure out fine. She says, okay, 1/4 cup. So 1 3/4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure you're not packing the flour if you're doing it this way. 7, 8. That's my 2 cups. 9, 10, 11. I took my whole package. Now, question for the mathy people. This package says it's 500 grams. The recipe says 2 3/4 cups weighs 344 grams. I just measured 2 3/4 cups. I think I need to get the scale out because I don't want to have too much flour because then it's going to make it heavy and dense. So let's double check that math, right? Because some things you can't undo, and once things start getting mixed and especially wet, then that just the whole thing. And let's not do that, right? Europeans know everything is by weight. Americans do it by volume. So let's put that on there. Let's tear it out. And we said it needs 344 grams. So it should be most of that. What I'm going to do with this extra flour. 298, 330, 332, 334. And that's why, well, hello. That's why we measure with the weight. So lesson learned. I guess I'm going to get the scale out for the rest of this one. And that's going to be all my bowls. Who needs bowls anyway, right? I need that in a big bowl because I'm going to add a bunch of stuff to it. There we go. Ta-da! Never assume. I know, and this is why I double check. Okay, 50 grams of sugar. So let me find a home for that. It's out of the way. Which should be 1/4 cup. Let us see. This is a whole measure twice thing, right? That is exactly 50 grams. Flour, to be fair, is very particular, and you don't want to pack it. And it's a lesson learned. So we're going to put. I've already lost my instructions. I knew this one was going to be messy. Flour, sugar, and salt. So that can go in there. Bam. Can go over here to be washed. And how much salt? 1.5 teaspoon of salt. I have a lot of teaspoon sets. Okay. Half teaspoon of salt. Bam. Okay. Just stir that together. Nice. If my measurements 2 times in a row don't equal, then I will do it a third time and then try to figure out where I fucked it up. Okay. Then it says set that aside. Oh, I'm already running out of room. It's gonna get to sit on the chair for a moment because I'm running out of space here. Oh, this away. This is where I'm going. My kitchen's too small. I can't do shit. It's over here for now. So we live and learn, right? Always double check. And if it gives it in volume, I will remember to do it in volume from now on. Okay. Then it says milk and butter in a heat-proof bowl or microwave. I don't have a microwave, so we're going to heat it until it's warm to the touch, about 43 Celsius, no higher. And the reason we don't want it higher is because we're going to put yeast in that, and we don't want to kill the yeast because that would make for some very flat rolls. We don't want flat rolls. We want fluffy rolls. My milk pan. I love this pan. Naturally, it weighs the milk too. Hold on. Fluffy. We want fluffy rolls. Okay. 180 milliliters of milk. You put a cup. Yeah. And 3 tablespoons of butter. So I'm going to go back to the scale. Freedom units. Yeah. I'm trying to give them in both. So the butter is 3 tablespoons or 43 grams. And 49 grams. Cut a little off of that. 45 grams. 44 grams. 43 on the dot. I'm going to turn it on low because we don't want to overheat it. And I'm going to set that aside because shit's getting in my way. Have a thermometer too. Things are getting busy. Put that out of the way. Put my flour out of the way. It's not calculus, it's just cooking. Okay, that's out of the way. I still might need some of this other stuff, so I'm going to set it aside. And John Pinjoff. That's what she said. I don't know. That's move that out of the way for the moment. While that warms up, I'm going to rinse these things out. Try and clean up after myself so it's not so bad. It's going to be bad later as it is because I have to roll these out, and that's always a mess, right? Always a mess. Put this aside for the moment. I'm glad it's not too loud, but if I don't keep up with this one, this is going to get out of hand very, very quickly. And we don't want that. Here we go. What? Yeah, the European pints are the different size than American pints. We had this discussion before. Mm. Okay. So this said, heat until it's warm to the touch. That'd be 110 Fahrenheit or 43 degrees Celsius. That was 25 Celsius, so it's got a little ways to go. Yeah, I've seen stingy servers try to uh, not give you what you pay for. That's not good. There, shameless plug. Mm. Mm. Um, while I'm on that, and I'm trying not to do this too much, I don't have it set up on my Twitch. I need to figure out how to set it up on Twitch. On my YouTube, I have a link for the store that has the merch. Uh, I have a link for my Zola affiliate link. So if you have not bought Dune yet, you can buy it there. It doesn't cost you any extra. It just gives me a little kickback. So if you haven't done it and you have held off on buying it until after the beta weekend, I certainly could use it. If you want to support the channel, there is a PayPal link, and there is a Amazon wish list for mostly cooking stuff. It's nerdy cookbooks and things that would make it easier to do this stuff. So there, I've done my self promotion bit, right? I hate doing that part. I need to figure out how to do this stuff. And part of it is, and this is the same problem we have with the podcast, is I'm not on Twitch right now. I'm using Restream, which streams to Twitch into YouTube at the same time. And so I can't see any of the controls for Twitch right now. I'd have to go in the other room where I have it set up. So it becomes kind of a thing to do, and I need to figure it out. I legitimately need to figure that out because people have been asking, and it feels weird to have people ask to buy stuff from me, and I don't know how to cope with that. But I'm working on it without being pretentious. I don't want to be one of those guys. Okay, so it is now 38. We're looking for 43. It's almost there. The butter's almost melted too, so I'm gonna stir that up a little bit. Um, yeah. Well, you know me in buttons. You really don't want me to push more buttons while I'm live because then the camera starts doing a lot of crazy stuff. That's one advantage of this stream is I don't have to touch any buttons. It's set and it's go. And I don't have to zoom in and out on other people. And yeah, let's do that. Melt the butter. Melt it. The butter was almost room temp. I had set it out a little while ago and it was soft, but so let's check that. 46. Let's turn that off. We're going to take it off the heat because we don't want to bake it. All right. The buttons. Kason bought one of the stickers on my merch page that is it's about the buttons. I got some button stuff. My son did two button designs. There's it's a keypad thing with the buttons, and then there's some stickers with buttons. Because they're the bane of my existence. It's become almost like a meme, and I'm not quite sure what to think of that. Okay. Whisk the yeast until it's dissolved. The whisk. Trying to keep this to a dull roar because this is already a mess. Okay. Whisk. But when you're working with yeast, you've got to be very, very particular about the temperature for the yeast because you'll kill it. And you also don't want to use old yeast because there's a good chance it won't rise. There's always at risk. Sometimes if you keep it exactly in a certain climate, it lasts longer, but it can be very particular. So if you haven't baked for a while and you get the urge, just get fresh yeast. It's not expensive. And it will save you some aggravation to have something rise properly with the right yeast. Always follow the instructions for it because there's fast acting yeast and then there's another kind that's a little bit slower. That so make sure you get the right kind for what it is you're doing. Okay, so that's all mixed up. The butter's all dissolved in. Okay, so now it's saying to pour into my dry mixture, which I set over here. Ta-da! Add the egg and stir with a steady rubber spatula or a wooden spoon or a stand mixer, which I don't have, and stir until soft or foam. So I do have a wooden spoon because that's a standard thing. It's the old cooking shows. Yep. I don't prep too much. I really can't. Someone because I was talking about doing something, and they're like, "Well, prep do the thing twice." And I'm like, I can't do that because I don't have the room for it. So everybody gets to sit here with me while I do it all at once. That and it's just me and my son here. I can imagine eating 2 batches of sweet rolls before they do scary things because they only last so long. So we poured that in there. We're going to add the egg. So set the egg out. Always do the egg in a separate bowl so I don't have to, just in case. That way there's no shell in it and it's not a scary egg. We've talked about scary eggs before. And hand washing real quick because that just got egg all over my hand. And no one wants salmonella, right? Germs are no fun. And we got, I believe it. Yeah, it was all those cooking shows. Here's the one I made earlier. It was the one you made 2 days ago, so it would be all cool and stuff and decorated and prettied up for serving. Okay. So this is going to make us the dough. And it smells yeasty. That's good. That's a good sign. Gotta move this to a bigger bowl. And I'm starting to get a kind of a dough ball on the bottom, which is good. But then it starts getting a little harder because you want to make sure you get just as much of that flour in there as you can. Good bicep workout, right? Get the biceps going. And then, yeah, okay. Let's move all this stuff out of the way because it's saying to transfer onto a lightly floured surface, use flour hands, knead the dough for 3 to 5 minutes. You should have a smooth dough ball. If the dough is super soft or sticky, add a little more flour, place in a light greatly greased bowl, and cover for about 10 minutes. So I kind of am going to cheat a little bit with the floured surface here because I don't have a lot of space and I have it's a mat. So, and the cool thing about this mat, check this out. This was someone got this for me from my wish list. This came with the rolling pins, and so if you're rolling out pies, like pizza pies, that's how big they roll out. It's got all your conversion charts on the sides. It's very cool. And if it's got, you can't see it really well, but there's measurements across the top. So if it's saying to roll out a certain size square, it's all right there. And then there's your conversion chart. So that's quite handy. It is very cool. And dishwasher safe. So, you know, it's going to save me some aggravation on my little bitty counter here. Okay, so I'm going to let's roll that out this way. And oh, it's a little tacky, so it's going to stick to the surface. Always overdo it. Yeah, this is where it's. I think a lot of it takes just practice. I mean, make sure I'm doing this right. Lightly floured surface. You kind of get a feel for what they mean by lightly floured because you just don't want it to stick, right? And gather up my dough ball here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's looking a little bit like the cookie dough, right? And oh, as far as cutting things out, I am awful at that, at judging how big a thing is. But this is in inches and in centimeters. It has temp conversion chart. So if you're doing stuff, it's got your freedom units and your Celsius and your measurement conversions too. If you're unsure or you can't remember, or so many recipes now are one or the other, and if you're always in the wrong country, you know, it helps. Okay, get just as much of that out of there as I can. I was watching some content thing. There's an Australian guy who bakes, and if you probably have seen it, he's a very provocative baker. He a lot of, yeah. And I was like, I guess in the views. I mean, don't get me wrong, his stuff looks amazing after he's done. Forgetting its safe word, but it's like I guess there was two guys the other day making cookies, and it was hilarious because they were like, "Take your shirts off," and so like just throwing flour and eggs and shit at each other while they're making these cookies. The cookies looked amazing when they were done, but the production part that they did for YouTube or Twitch or Facebook or whatever it is they focused on. So I'm going to kind of roll this around and get a good coat of a light dust of flour on it so it doesn't stick. And then it says to knead for 3 to 5 minutes. Hey, kiddo, can you hear me? Goes, no, crap. I have to go watch the clock. So what time have I got? It is 7:29. So I need, this is nice and soft, so that helps. Some bread doughs are really dense, and you're just like, so that absorbed up that flour really quickly, and then I can feel it get a little sticky. So I'm going to add just a little more flour to it. We don't want it to get heavy or dense. You want it to still feel light, but you're wanting to make sure that the chemical bonds in there that make it dough are consistent across the inside of the structure. And it's getting a little sticky again. Just get that little bit of flour. Because this is going to be real nice because I have to lay out, roll it out. I'm going to roll out the dough into a big square to do the toppings. So that will help. Oh yeah, this is much lighter than Brist. But yeah, if I was at a shrine god, I'd be like, spank it. And I would look absolutely ridiculous. To be fair, he looks a little bit ridiculous too, but he makes it very fancy looking cakes and things like that. So that is a nice dough. It feels a little sticky still. I'm going to give it a roll over this to get the last of the flour up. I'm going to sit it there for 1 second because I need to wash my hands again. I know. So I have to be very careful about washing hands again. So it says to put it into an oiled bowl, and I'm going to use butter because butter. If you're in the States, I know there's the urge to use the spray-on stuff, and I vote against that. The propellant of that stuff coats everything and is really hard to get off. And we've already got butter, just use the butter. I mean, it's like trying to order the Diet Coke after, you've ordered 5 pizzas for yourself. It's kind of, butter's fine. And I'm going to use this bowl to rise it in, I think, because why not? All right. Get it all good and dry. And then, just wash my hands so I could get butter all over my fingers. But we're going to give it a very generous coating of butter. Let's get it all get up in there. When possible, I use real, I guess, oils and things. There's some bread that I make that the primary fat in it is olive oil, so I'll use olive oil for the bowl to let it sit. I don't know if you can see that, but it's good and greased. Washing my hand again. Hot water. There'll be signs. There'll be more books on my bookshelf. You'll see. You won't see. Okay, so we're going to put that in there. And then we're going to cover loosely. You can use a cloth. You can use that. We'll let that sit for a minute. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, probably. There's lots of books that I want. I have a personal wish list that's got a ton of books on it. There are lots of comic books. There's a bunch of Star Wars comic books that I want. There's a bunch of graphic novels that I want. There's a couple more Firefly books that I want. There's some. I think there's more Dune graphic novels. There's 2 more Expanse graphic novels that I want. So yeah, when in doubt, Meg likes books. We're gonna let that sit for about 10 minutes while I clean up some stuff. But yes, rooms and rooms of books. There's no such thing as too many. There are Dune graphic novels. So I have the 6 core books for Dune, and then I have the first book, which is actually 3 books, and 3 graphic novels. They're up on my bookshelf. And then I have the House Atreides. It came in 3 graphic novels. I have House Harkonnen. It came in 3 graphic novels, and there's a couple of short story collections. There's something at Arakeen, and then there's Waters of Canley, which are both happen. One happens during the Battle of Arakeen. There's like 3 short stories that are told from different characters, and then the Waters of Canley is Gurney after everything goes sideways, and he thinks Jessica's betrayed them, and he's off doing the smuggler thing, and he's plotting because he hates the Harkonnen. So yes, there's graphic novels. I want more. I am not the Expanse books and the comic books. Yes, I have those. The graphic novels, well, the ones that are from the core books are by Herbert, and then they've been slightly edited down for format. The others are written by his son and others like the same guys who wrote The Expanse. So it's not awful. I know a lot of people have this thing about the Herbert books and things, but it is what it is. All right. Oh, fanfic. There's worse things. Right? There's worse things. But while that's sitting, I need to start cleaning some of this up. Otherwise, I'm going to be up all night doing dishes. There's worse things. But yes, more books. I have a bunch of Star Wars comic books. There's some Thrawn ones that I want. I've got most of the novels for the Thrawn books, but not all. It is Dune. So thinking about kind of it could be of all kinds of stuff in there. You never know. Huh? I don't know. These are going to be excellent. These are going to be okay. Stop that, Meg. Stop it. Remember, don't soak your wooden spoons. You got to clean them. You cannot put them in the dishwasher. You can't handle being that wet. And your point is not eat cookie dough too. So yeah. Thursday. Thursday. Okay. So when this goes off, oh, in just a minute. Space for shit. Yeah, just live a little, right? What's life without a little risk? Little salmonella. When the timer goes off for this stuff, we're going to roll it out into 14 by 18 inch rectangle, which is 36 by 20 centimeters. Okay, which would be great on this mat. Then we're going to spread the softened butter on top. So we need 3 tablespoons, which is 43 grams of butter. I still need the scale out. So what this ball was for. Tear it out. And then the filling needs 43 grams of butter, which is supposedly 3 tablespoons. My hands are gonna be so chapped after washing them all after all this. But I had a heart attack. It changed measurements for a second, and I'm like, did I check that before? 43 on the dot. Dysentery isn't fun. No, no. Food poisoning in general is not nice. Yeah. Okay, so it says roll out the dough, spread the softened butter on top, mix together the cinnamon and brown sugar. So I need to do those 10 things. Where is the cinnamon and brown sugar? Will be a 1/3 cup and a tablespoon of cinnamon. These better be good, as much work as this is. I'm gonna turn, and it's warm in here. So we said a 1/3 cup, 1/4 cup, 1/3 cup, 1/3 cup brown sugar, and a tablespoon of cinnamon. Why cinnamon? It's okay. It's okay. Ooh. It's not that it's super hot in here. It's just the last couple of days, the humidity's been such, it's just so stuffy. I don't know why it is so hot in here. Okay, so the butter is done. That out of the way. We'll need a tablespoon of cinnamon. Just love cinnamon, and then 1/3 cup. Remember, guys, don't inhale this, right? We are at 12. Yes, it smells good, but not that good. Let's put cinnamon. Then bowls full in a strange cave, as we should, right? And then brown sugar, a cup. Now it's saying to spread that on, and that's not spreadable in that form. So I may need to pop that onto the stove for a minute. I'm not gonna turn the heat on, but I'm going to, that's still warm, that pan, and warm up that butter just a smidge so it's spreadable a little more so. Spread it. Spread it good. It's all good. All good. How much time we got left? Okay, I got 20 seconds left on this. This needs to melt faster. Okay. Move that back out of the way so it's safe from things because it's got a glass top. And then, come on. Let that do its thing. Okay. So that has done this, right? Now we're going to roll it out into about a 14 by 8 inch square or 36 by 20 centimeters square. Oh. We're going to be very gentle with it because we don't want to knock too much air out of it. Where I had it. So the rolling pin. This was also a gift, and this rolling pin is actually very cool. It has these guards on it. So if you're wanting to roll something to a specific thickness, the guards will cut to that thickness. It also has some measurements on it as well, so you can have a little more confidence in your size as you measure things. I was like, well, one of the reasons I wanted this one to be fair is when I make the Maldive cookies, because I haven't rolled out cookies in ages, is I've got cookie cutters for the little motifs, and that way I make sure it's the right thickness so they're pretty consistent. Okay, so we're going to roll this out to, what did we say? 14 by 18 or 36 by 20. And I love that there's a measurement thing on this thing. So thank you again for the lovely gift. This makes things much simpler. Yes, in the days before the internet, people used to do stuff. It was fine. It was fine. And, but I can't do it. So this makes it easier. Kind of like having an electric mixer, you know. Yeah, you know, you can do it by hand, but okay, this is not going to be thin enough. So I need to take those off really. Let's see. And they just screw off. It's just the ends come off. Come on. Because otherwise it's not going to be flat enough. And you really need it pretty thin because we're going to roll it. And I think that's one thing that Gen Xers, we kind of, we lost. We learned how to cook to survive. But, you know, the homemade stuff that our grandmothers made, all of those things got lost. My mom didn't cook. She couldn't cook away out of a wet paper bag. Uh, I am neither cook nor baker, so that's why I picked the name for this particular stream, because this could go all kinds of sideways, because this is taking forever, and I don't want things to. Aha! So the butter is much softer now. It's not melted, but it's definitely soft enough to spread. So now I can roll that out a little flatter. So when we roll these up, because we're going to pinwheel them, they need to be much thinner. We said a rectangle, 14 by 18. 3 for 17. Okay. By the way, that size rectangle is going to take up most of my mat, because inch-wise, this is 13 inches by 21, or 32 centimeters by 50. So it's going to be pretty thin across my mat here. And I'm very worried now because this is going to be very thin across my mat here. Get shit out of my way. There's probably a proper technique to this, and I don't know what it is. So I'm going to cut this. I'm going to stick it on the other side so I can kind of flatten it out a little bit, so I can make it a little more even without making it too thin in the middle. We don't want spots, thin spots where it tears. There's got to be a method that works better, but I'm figuring shit out. Let's kind of roll that mass down this way. And it's a little too thin there. It's starting to tear, so we got to be very mindful of that. No counter space. Let's pop that over there. We're heating it out. Okay, this is rectangle like, right? Have no room. Shit's in the way. That clanging is bugging me. Okay. it is close enough. Okay, we're gonna call it close enough. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I'm gonna wash my hands. It's very buttery. While this is rising, this is going to take about an hour to rise. I will do the dishes and then my feelings, if I had any. Because my son and I have this kind of running joke about, I was looking at each other and go, It's like the judgmental villagers from Minecraft. And it's just us standing in the living room going, until one of us breaks and says, I'll sell you a block of dirt for a block of emerald, We're easily amused. Okay, so that part is done. Next step says, so we rolled it out, spread the softened butter on top. Silicone saves lives. This is so much easier. It's all one piece. You don't have to worry so much about digging stuff out. It's more hygienic to wash than a other type brush. So silicone saves aggravation. It saves a whole lot of pain. Silicone. So this is I wouldn't say solid. It's not completely melted, but I think by the time I get done, because I'm going to stir it, it's going to be soft enough to spread over the entirety of my. So if you're on a diet, this is not it. Okay, this is not it. We're gonna paint our dough with butter. But yeah, silicone you can use in hot stuff, so you could use it to baste stuff in the oven or on the grill. And it's easily washable and it's quite durable. And if something does happen to it, it's cheap. It's not an heirloom thing. It's very it's a little butter. It's versatile. And just yep, there it goes. Oh lordy lordy. Where was that one cook back in the States that used to cook with all the bacon and butter? You just knew that you're gonna get a coronary eating her cookbooks. Some Southern woman who looked like she was someone's Mima. This is what she would make. This is butter. I don't know if you can't see how much butter is on this, but it is slathered in butter. Okay. So that aside, great thing about that pan is it's aluminium. It cools off very fast. And then I'm going to stir this, and then we're going to sprinkle it across the top. Because that's my brown sugar sitting there. So it's the brown sugar cinnamon mix. What are you guys up to over here? Paula Deen, yeah. You just know everything she made killed you. Oh, I got more butter. I got all the butter. Yes, here comes the spice. I find it interesting that these rolls make it into so many nerddoms, though. So the cinnamon, which is Dune, but the cinnamon rolls themselves make for Skyrim, makes for Fallout. I wonder. I'm not going to do it this time because it would definitely change the recipe. You'd have to cut the brown sugar to put in purple sprinkles, maybe, but that would be ooze. I don't know if that would be wise or not. So this is almost all broken up. So it's just a brown mix, just brown mix. And now this is going to get sprinkled across the whole of it. Oh, oh. I have wondered about, and I've got this on my wish list, a tripod for the camera. It came with one, but it's like 6 inches tall, so you really can't. It's a desk camera tripod. But if I had a tripod to put the camera on, I could move it closer to where I'm working. So you two could see this heart attack that I'm making over here. Yeah, this is going to be, so I don't know if you can see. There's enough on there, but I've only used about half of the bowl. So I'm going to continue putting cinnamon on here because, in for a penny, in for a pound, and cinnamon, right? We're gonna hurt ourselves here with some. Let's just go for it, right? Get it even as we can. Make sure there's no empty spots. Yeah. There. And now you can see how brown that is from where you are. I can see it on the camera. This is some cinnamon. Okay, put that in the bowl. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to roll it up to make a 14-inch log, real 14 inches. And then we will cut them into the pinwheels to put into here. Before I do that, though, I'm going to prepare my pan. That way I don't have to mess up my fingers again. And again, butter. I'm going to stick with the same fat source because it's going to keep the flavor good. You don't have to behave. I have to behave. Now, the bot might not like it. The bot, I think I have the moderation fixed. It was the same bot that was muting everybody for stuff. But yeah, so let's just go in with the butter here and commit. Right, we're gonna commit, and um, I probably won't use all. Well, she says that she smears all this butter. I probably won't get all of this in here. I probably have to throw some of this away because I went a little overboard, but not by much. That's right. I created a monster. So this is very buttery. I went a little overboard. Oops. Um, but we want to make sure it doesn't stick. The modern pans are pretty good about not sticking, but it just makes it easier to get stuff out later. Don't tempt the fate. And not so much butter. I'm just going to go straight to the dish soap to get that off my hands because I don't think regular regular hand soap's going to cut that one. Yeah. Okay. Hey, what you need to say? When I was 16, I ran out of cinnamon, mid-cinnamon roll ingredients, so I added a bit of nutmeg and cardamom. That could be good. It'd give you a kind of an all-spicy flavor, kind of a holiday flavor. Okay, so my pan is ready. This says for the pan to use a 9 or 10-inch round pan, a cake pan, a pie dish, or a square pan. For American style cinnamon rolls, excuse me, you want them crammed in there pretty snug. You want the sides touching. For the English style ones, they tend to have a little space in between them. It's a matter of personal preference. I like them all squished together because I like the edges soft, and so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to make them in the square pan because I like to make things difficult, and that's going to be harder to clean because I'm dumb. I have a round pen and I'm stupid. So we've committed. So now we're going to roll this up ever so carefully. All right. As evenly as possible. Whoop. Make sure it rolls, not scoots. Roll, roll, roll. If only I knew how to roll stuff. I'm sure there's somebody out here who rolls things quite well, but it isn't me. Alrighty. Yeah, not me. Okay. I'm gonna space over here. Oh, and you want to make sure it's not sticking. I've got a few spots here that are trying to stick. Stick, stick, stick. No. This edges trying to tear here. And that is that long. It's not completely consistent though. So one ended ended up a little thicker than the others. Again, I haven't made these ages. So what? They're gonna taste good anyway. All right. Um, we're going to cut into 12 even rolls. So I need to make sure that I have about a dozen of these. I'm going to stick them all in the thing. So let's see. The easiest way I think for me to just do is start from the middle. Okay. Ah, here we go. And then the pan. Yeah, this looks a bit like a doobie. One end is quite a bit thicker than the other. So lessons are being learned, right? If you're using a knife, do be careful with the thing. You don't want to cut your mat. Thankfully, my knives are pretty dull. You also don't want to squish your things. So I'm doing very light slices because we don't want to cave them in. Oh, those are going to be amazing. So, and I'm going to cut it in half again. Again, I'm just kind of taking light slices because I don't want to push down on the dough. I saw someone do this, but they used string to cut it. So they grabbed from beneath and cut. But I don't know if I have the proper technique for that. I'm pretty sure I don't. So two, do three and three. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that works. Okay, so each of these is going to get a little tougher here to cut without coming apart. I may have made a bad choice. Good, good, good. This right. Oh, that's a lot of cinnamon. This right. Tell myself it needs to taste good, not look good, right? That's the thing. It needs to. It's all about the taste. I'm trying to gently get through this. This knife is very dull too, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if I trust myself with sharp knives. Okay, so that's my first one, and I'm going to put it in the corner. Oh, yeah, yeah. My fingers out of the way. Yeah, lessons are being learned here. There's got to be a better way to cut these without making a mess. Does a butter knife work better? Yeah, I got a little more control actually. So I don't want to shred the dough is the problem. I need a second to think on this. Mayhem incoming, yeah. And soundtrack intensifies. I am not Gordon Ramsay. I am not Gordon Ramsay. No. Um, he does occasionally in my stress dreams come at me with the bread and I'm a stupid sandwich. So, um, yeah, that's that's true. Let's just commit and let's do it. Just do it. Good thing about cinnamon rolls is they're going to be messy. Look at that. They're going to be messy and don't care. I'm trying not to care. I'm trying not to care. So if you are a good cook or a good baker and you're looking at this, I apologize because this is probably not the best, but you know what? Don't care. I know my ex mother in law, one of the things that she did before she did the thing with the string when she chilled them, so that might help too. It is very warm in here. And basically, you're just going to cram them in here. They're all going to be sides touching for the American ones. Chelsea buns, I think, is what these are in England. They're commonly called Chelsea buns. But they're coming out. They're going to look all right, I think. And we're just kind of fill this pan with cinnamon goodness here. Yeah, butter knife seems to be working better. I feel a little more confident with it because I won't have to worry about cutting my mat at the bottom. And this end of the roll is a little bit thicker too, so that might be contributing to making it go a little better. I'm trying to make some consistent depth, but it's not as easy as it looks. So that one's going to be a big old gooey mess. One of the things for doneness on these is not just how they look, but with a thermometer, we'll test the middle to make sure that the dough is actually done, because they're going to be gooey, but you want them to be healthy-ish, not deadly to eat. Just put that way. Okay, so that part is done. We're going to cover the pan and let it rise until double, which takes about an hour. This is the hard part, because now I get to do the dishes. But let me get a clean cloth here. Actually, yeah, let's do a clean cloth. No, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to turn the oven on for just a minute and let that heat up, and I'm going to pop it in there with the oven off and see if that helps speed it up a little bit. But you're not going to do that too long because you don't want it to kill the yeast. And then I'm going to do the dishes real quick, and then I'm going to make the icing because that takes a few minutes. There's in Talia, there's a mini game for cooking, and there's some pieces I haven't been able to master, and I'm like, it's a video game. Why am I struggling to make things? But to be fair, it's stuff I wouldn't normally eat anyways, a bunch of fishy stuff, that sort of thing. So that's okay. I'm in this weird position now. I'm standing in front of the oven that I've got on, and I've got a fan going over there, and it's here. But yeah. So I'm going to turn that back off, and I'm going to pop this in here, and we're going to let that sit for 45 minutes. Then I will make the icing, which is a cream cheese icing. I have a recipe for some other icing bits. This was supposed to be prep time of 20 minutes. It took me, an hour. Let me set the timer, because timers are good. And yeah, so that's started. Let me move that for a second. Actually, I'm going to sit for a moment because I'm melting. The room is spinning, and what do I need for the cream cheese butter? Okay, so I don't need any of those. I'm going to move these out of the way so I can do dishes here in a minute. 1 second. My kitchen is so small. Stack those in the living room. But I'm going to sit for a moment in my new chair here. That was gifted to me so I can read some of these comments, because I'm seeing the scroll and I can't interact and it's hard. Okay. Tired. Okay, so they're going to have to rise for an hour. This is a short rise recipe. Normally, there's 2 rises to get them the height we want, but those are going to double in size in about an hour, ideally. If they haven't, then I've done something very wrong. I will bake them anyway, but hopefully, we will see in an hour what they're going to do. So in the meantime, I'm going to sit for a minute. I'm going to get these dishes done. This one has a cream cheese icing. So the icing is, I'm going to have to get the hand mixer out because I have to beat cream cheese smooth, and I don't have the arm strength to do that right now. You can do it by hand if you're particularly burly. I mean, until smooth and creamy. Add the butter and beat till smooth and combined, and then add in the confectioner's sugar and the vanilla until combined. And then we're going to put it over the warm rolls, so it's going to get all gooey. Uh, uh, there's also a recipe for, where is it? They included a thing for a coffee stuff on top that could be really nice. I'm not going to do that today because my kid doesn't like coffee. And I think that's my problem. I only had 2 cups of coffee today, and I didn't have my usual Dr. Pepper. And maybe that's why I'm flagging. So I'm going to give this a second, and then I'm going to. This chair is very comfy. Thank you to the chair giver. Cream cheese. When I was a kid, my younger brother would eat like a whole fucking block of cream cheese. I'm like, he just eat it? I'm like, that's disgusting. I love cheesecake, and I like things with cream cheese in them. I like cream cheese on a bagel, but just eating a block of cream cheese sounds disgusting. A charity, ha 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 ha. Smart ass. Oh, need more water. What's actually really nice about this is it does go up and down. So, where is it? Whoa, I went down. Let me go. Oh, ha. See, now I'm normal height to the counter. That's new and different. The mic caught that. Sorry. It's actually a pretty good mic. I've been very happy with the mic. Um, I'm glad I have a comfy chair too. This helps a lot because standing for an hour or so, more jokes. Standing for an hour is a lot, and I'm old. Mm. The shameless plug. I've had several people who are like, "Don't forget," and I'm like, I I get that, it's the hustle because actual streams and things don't make a lot of money. Um, and so you have to really be doing a whole lot of stuff for a lot of platforms. Someone was DMing me today on Twitter. I don't know why, about getting on Kick, and I'm like, no. I One, Kick doesn't have a great reputation. I've never looked at it, but there's a lot of about Kick. But like, I can barely manage what I've got. I stopped posting the Instagram like ages ago because like I just cannot keep up. And having the merch there, it's stuff that my son has designed for me. Um, I like it. Obviously, I think the stickers. Kason bought some stickers. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But those little things help because um, other things don't pay a lot. And I get it. This wasn't meant to be a job, but it's nice to have a little something. It's nice to, how to put it. It's nice to feel like I'm doing something people like, and that's always nice. I think what frustrates me about Instagram is it feels tedious to post to the kind of content that I make to it. It feels very tedious. There's a whole lot of bots, and I just don't have the patience for it. I don't have the um, it's just a lot of sifting through to try and find actual people to connect with. And I mean, things like for like Conan, I did collaborations with like Kaya, and then we did the stuff with the devs for the purge stream, and then we did a build stream. Making those connections with real people is exciting and fun and good. Getting 50 DMs from porn bots is not so. It's kind of tedious, and I don't like it. It's I don't. you only get tired of blocking after a bit, you know? You're just like, "Ugh." I have zero interest in wading through that. I've really been surprised at how much I've enjoyed the cooking streams. Um, they're long, which a lot of people don't have time for, which I respect. Um, there's a lot of TikTok. You know, you couldn't cram this into a 90-second TikTok. But I mean, I enjoy gaming, but sometimes that's tiring. It tends to set off my vertigo a lot. But the cooking, I figured I was going to do 3 or 4 streams to kind of see how it worked on this end logistically with my son and autism and all of that. And setting up in here it is kind of exhausting because I have to like tear everything down and set it all up and move shit back and forth. And I've got like the laptop is on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books, you know, and a couple of them are like honking big books. And so there's it's kind of perched precariously. Um, but it's been fun. It's been fun. It's a nice nerdy outlet, I think, because we've been looking at nerdy stuff. Oh, that reminds me. Um, so I think probably we are having a good time, and I try to keep it. I try to keep all my stuff, whether it be the podcast or this or whatever, just kind of low key. I don't have the stamina to make the shocked face and the clickbait titles for things, or you know, if something happens naturally that's like woo, then that's great. But I'm not very theatrical by nature, I don't think. But so coming up for future streams, we've got the Moadib cookies, which I'm hoping to do temperature. We have to look at the calendar and the weather because I don't want it to be too hot. Those are coming up before the Dune release. My son has requested there's a recipe that he really likes. It's a Tuscan chicken recipe that he really likes. We're going to do that. There's a chicken recipe that he really likes that's baked. It's baked, so it's kind of long, but I think it's going to be good. There's Hobbit one that he wants. It's a bacon. Hold on, I have to cook the what do we got here? Hold on, I have all the cookbooks. I kept them handy this time. She says that she tries to wrestle them out because I forgot stuff got moved. All right, so Hobbit cookbooks. This has see, look, the Chelsea rolls. Um, there's a skillet breakfast, a mushroom skillet breakfast that looks really amazing. So we're going to do that. And with that, my son's not really big into omelets and things, but where is it? In this one, there is a where is it? Bacon, 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 bacon. This is the Dungeon Meister's cookbook. And that books, I told you guys. When in doubt, I'm good for bacon. Is it in this book? Nope, it's not in that book. Which book is it in? It's in this book. Another D&D book. Bacon, 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 bacon. Ah, yes. Orc bacon. We're gonna make orc bacon, 156. Um, so orc bacon, there it is a pound of thick cut bacon, brown sugar, black pepper, garlic powder, and orange juice. So that could be really, really good. So we're gonna do that. Um, with the chicken that is in this book. No, we're going to do the bacon with the Hobbit stuff. We're going to chicken from this book. Oh, and then for a Dune themed one, I'm going to do some Arab, Middle Eastern food. Someone generously gifted me this. Um, I'm excited for this one. There's a lot of stuff in here that my son won't eat, so we'll have to work around that. But the thing that I was looking at, so there is I love Greek leaves, but I don't think I can get the ingredients here, and I've never made them. But there is where is it? There's some bread. I like bread. I like bread a lot, and that looks fucking amazing. And I don't care if my son eats any of it, I'll eat it all by myself. Doesn't that look good? Hello there. And then with that bread, the other thing that I'm going to make, I was looking it up. This is actually a Turkish dish. Where is it? It is poached eggs with garlic yogurt. And a lot of people are going, ew, but it actually sounds really good. I like poached eggs and I like garlic yogurt. Um, so it's Greek yogurt, 2 cloves of garlic, then salt, then the poached eggs are 4 eggs, vinegar to help the egg white set. If you've ever done the poached eggs, it keeps them from kind of going everywhere in your pan. Also, fresh eggs. You got to use fresh eggs for that. Then spiced butter, which is salted butter, and chili flakes and paprika. And well, hello there. And then parsley, cilantro, and melange for sprinkling. So it's actually a Turkish dish. It is a real dish, and it sounds really good. I know it'll be fun for me to make next to my son. Won't touch that with a 10-foot pole, but I'm like, more for me, which is fine. Let me check my time, and then I need to get some of these dishes done while this is setting up. Okay, so that's doing its thing. Let me make sure. It does. So I have another 6 cooking streams kind of planned out. I tentatively have several podcast episodes planned out, guests pending. Those are always hard to kind of tag down, especially right now with doing picking up the Funcom is super crazy busy and not always super easy to get a hold of. And other creators are also picking up their own production schedules and prep for going live, so they aren't always available to do stuff with other people, which I respect. So, but I do have, sorry, I do have ideas for when the game goes live. Lots of lore streams planned um, for the podcast. So we'll be talking, digging deep into the lore. So it's gonna be good. All right, dishes. Am I still blocking the mic? The mic is open. Okay. Can you hear me now? ASMR baking. Yeah, it's a pinafore. It's a pinafore apron, so it covers all the way down and around in the back. I feel like Mr. Rogers when I put on. It's like part of my getting ready for the whole thing, so that way, in case there's a bad mess, it's mostly on me. I had thought about merchandising. Someone had mentioned doing something with an apron, and I thought that could be fun. There are some ideas, but I don't know how to make it look good on in practical application. And I need to make sure, I think, for myself that I can keep up with a production schedule. It's a lot, and I don't want to make promises for content and time that I cannot keep. Kind of funny that way. It bothers me to say. It's one of the reasons someone was looking at my schedule for my Twitch, and they were like, "There is none." And I'm like, "I know," because I never can tell by I think like this weekend, for example, I want to stream Conan. It's the 7th anniversary. I want to stream it. I have keys to give away for Conan. Um, I would love to do that. There's Twitch drops, but there's a part of me going, will I be able to? And so I'm like, I kind of leave it until the last minute until I know I have the spoons. Making progress, making good progress. It's it's been wild. I've really enjoyed all the feedback. Mm. When I lived in the Middle East, and a lot of the brunches were lamb chops, and I'm like, oh, lamb chops and creme brulee. Oh, that could be good. See, I like a lot of Asian, westernized Asian foods, and a lot of marinades for a lot of steaks and things have soy sauce in them, and I am allergic to soy. And so I have a recipe around here somewhere for something that you can use in place of soy. You have to it's something with balsamic vinegar and a couple other things to give it similar flavor and texture and cooking experience without the stuff that's going to make me wish I was dead. So I get food allergies definitely impact, and you have to kind of wiggle around and find the one that works best for you. Chicken, chicken would be an interesting substitute. Yeah, it'd be fun. All right, I've been stalling long enough. My rolling pin isn't going to wash itself. Let's do that a little bit, so don't judge my messy kitchen. Um, God damn it! Oh, right, those things just want to end up in the floor. There, go in the bowl. Go in the bowl. Soapy water. Damn it. Okay, I will try to be quick because I know it's loud. This enamel pan, I love it for heating milk. Like when I make porridge, I use it, or hot chocolate, I use it. But if I heat butter in it generally I feel confident that it's not going to scorch. But man, is butter hard to clean off with anything. But yeah, I can't slip and brush. That might get dishwasher later. But I want to get the worst use out of my way. Everything's in my way. So water. I spend a lot of time talking to myself. For a long time when I did stream, it was to nobody. Yeah, I spent a lot of time talking. Mostly clean. Let's move that because that's fresh. Remember, kids, always be careful washing knives, even dull ones. It's about to a better point. Oh, hey. Yep, that's it. Okay. You can see in my kitchen a little better. Okay. Ta-da! That's going to go in the sink too. It's suddenly cleaner than it was before, right? Part of the funny, there is some experimentation. I mean, I mean, if you're smart about it, like if you're going to replace one fat with another fat, is it going to work? Like for a lot of bread, I have a recipe that uses olive oil, but it means it's going to taste like olive oil. You can't necessarily. I wouldn't have exchanged butter in this recipe for olive oil because olive oil and cinnamon might not go good together, and it's certainly not something you want with cream cheese frosting on it. That just kind of sounds not so good. So yeah, I mean, there's experimentation to be had. Definitely, there's definitely a lot of room. I'm going to need that for that in just a few minutes. Uh, Clean towel so I can get some of this stuff out of my way before somebody gets hurt. For nobody to get hurt now would be my knife block. Those are, I keep telling myself I'm going to get a knife sharpener someday, and then I'm like, but with the sharp knife, I would just hurt myself. But then I'm like, for the dull knife, I'm not efficient, and I'm making things harder than they need to be. So inertia gets me every time. Yeah. Some butters just don't exchange better. I mean, like when I grew up, Crisco was the thing, but Crisco and butter have a lot of interchangeability. Um, but not everything can be exchanged. I remember my first husband was not a cook, and I don't know where he got it, but we had moved in together, and I was trying to fry something up, and I grabbed the oil that was in the cupboard, not realizing it was like some expired peanut oil, and I'm like that did not go well. I'm like, why do you even have peanut oil? Why is this even here? That's not the there are other questions I should have been asking at that point, but it is what it is. Are you saying I'm sneaky? Yeah, the rancid peanut oil. That's in your head. And oh, so not related. These are that one's marked 8 millimeters on that side and a 1/4 inch on that side. So when you're rolling them out, it rolls to that consistency, and they're all marked. So whatever. I have no idea how you get. I guess you'd have to press it. Um, or like if you ever had peanut butter, it separates, but why? I know a lot of Asian dishes use peanut and peanut oil, but I don't know the process that goes into that. But this is not an Asian dish, and it was rancid. This is the first time I've used it. I love it. I hope if this continues, I will get to do more of it. We had my messy kitchen there. That's it's been lovely to play with. When I do the Modib cookies, I will be using this. I have the decorations for the spice bowl cookies. I got two different kinds of spice. This is really fine, and one's really coarse. So I'm going to make half the cookies as little Modibs and the other half as spice blows. Making them all chocolate chip, which kind of fits the terrain, and they're tasty that way. So you could probably do it as sugar cookies too, but I'm going to do chocolate chip cookies because I like chocolate chip cookies. I also have not decorated the cookie in decades. I have not rolled and cut a cookie in decades. So, this is where we get into the mayhem. Have I been doing it that long? Has it been 2 months already? Hmm. Time flies when you're having fun. Let me put these away, out of the way. Sorry, I'm not loud, but now it's out of the way. Time has lost all meaning since the pandemic. It has, and I don't even know what's going on anymore in my life. Where am I? What am I doing? Okay, so let's put the rolling pin away for the moment. Drop all the shit to the floor. They got no room. Okay, it's a little better. Okay, I'm gonna put the cinnamon away because I don't need it anymore. I think I'm gonna put the salt away. I don't think I need it anymore. I still need butter. Okay, that's my frosting. And then those things are drying. I'm gonna use that to mix it with. I guess I need a bowl. Darn it. Oh well. Butter bowl's been a lot of action today. It's a very used bowl. Hey, babe. All the bowls. And this one's too big for the dishwasher. My dishwasher is very tiny. And actually, my sink has decided this is the time to act up. Have I said lately how much I hate this flat? Because I do. I hate it here. So much. Okay. All right. We're going to do the best we can with what we got here. New working space. First podcast. No, the podcast was longer than that. The first podcast we did, I thought, was back in January. For Dune. Now, this I don't think has been that long because I think this is. So that this is not the podcast. The podcast is sandwalking for Dune. So this is now a month now. So this is my fourth one, I think. I did cookies for the first one. I've done Nuka Cola. We did the beefy chicken. We did the steak, and then this one. Yeah. So yeah, it's time has been very weird and wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff. Hmm. Wibbly wobbly timey wimey. Now, committed. I've been divorced twice. I don't have to commit to anything. Um. Oh, yes. Yeah. So we started sandwalking in, I want to say it was January because the press event for Oslo was in January. And I got to, Mojo and I got to talk about that at that time. And then, yeah, it's time flies. Time does fly. Okay, so this still has a few minutes to rise. I'm very worried about how that looks. I'm going to peek. If you're in a cold weather place, one thing I do miss about having a gas stove is the pilot on top. Keeps the top of your stove warm. You can set things, kind of adjust things to get it the right temperature so it rises well in the wintertime. Um, this is rising. It's only been about 30 minutes, so I think we're going to hit the double mark. They are not even though, so this could be problematic when it comes down to actually cooking and getting them done all the way. So that could be, I know, 3 weeks till the game starts, and then it's going to be a whole different ball game because everybody's going to be out talking about dying on the sand and Shahalood, and I'm excited. The deep lore dives that I have planned, I hope people like the devs have done such an amazing job with Dune. Um, it's not an RPG, but it's got RPG elements, and the elements are strong. Yes. The coldest is, see, this is the UK, so it where I'm at, it doesn't get super cold. It's just kind of, I've lived in Michigan, and that was always a concern for baking and cooking. I lived in Germany, but it's actually, we didn't have a whole lot of horrible cold weather where I was. At least when I lived there, I don't recall a lot of like heavy snows or things like that. I mean, it got cold sometimes, but I don't recall a lot of gnarly weather. So, it is what it is. All right. So this was supposed to rise for an hour, hour and a half. It's coming along. I set the timer for 45 minutes so I could do the icing, but I'm going to wait, I think, a little more because I don't want to have it start to congeal before I'm ready. because you want it liquidy to put on the hot stuff. So I'm going to give that just a few more minutes, but then I have to measure out my cream cheese because this is, how many ounces is this? Where is the thing on it? How big is this container? This is 165 grams. And I need how much? 40. So I need cookbooks. I can keep shit organized. I need 113 grams. Then more butter, then the confectioner's sugar and vanilla. And back to things you can't exchange. Don't use granulated sugar for this. This is powdered sugar. So granulated sugar would be crunchy. And we don't want crunchy frosting. We want smooth, gooey, drippy frosting. We don't want crunchy. Some things you don't want to crunch. Dewy. We do not. We do not. I got a DM from Paulo who said he had to work. I think he's been in now, but I think he had to work today. So crunchy cinnamon rolls would not be the same. You know, cinnamon rolls need to definitely. I mean, you can have a little crisp around the edges, but you don't want them to be crunchy. You don't want to be. No, that would be pretty. You move these cookies so I can sit down again for a few minutes. But yeah, we got streams planned. Spoons pending. Nothing is on the calendar for sure. I have things penciled into. Ooh, pecans could be nice. Or ooh, I love walnuts. I like the expensive nuts, I like pecans and walnuts, cashews. Can't stand peanuts. Can't stand peanuts. Um, but yeah, we got stuff planned. Part of it is looking at how hot it's going to be in here. Part is looking at budget for ingredients. That kind of thing kind of plays into how much streaming content and Twitch streaming for gaming, podcast. This is all, it's all a lot of stuff. So I want to make sure that I can pecans, candied pecans on top of this would be amazing. I don't like peanut butter though. The only peanut butter I like are Reese's cups, and I can't have them here because they've exchanged part of the sugar with soybean sugar to make it, and I'm allergic, and it was very sad. And I was like eating it, I'm like, why does this taste different? Why? Oh, darn it! My my ex husband likes boiled peanuts. You can get these big cans of boiled peanuts. I'm like, oh, gross, very gross. Well, I'd say that people like what they like. I tried to be respectful. It just didn't smell nice. Yeah, they use different ingredients. One of the hard things here, since with the whole thing in Ukraine, is because so much grain and things come from there. Uh, those are not what they used to be. Plus Brexit and all the fuckery with that. They now use a lot of soy flour in bread to kind of cut the and stretch the wheat flour, and it makes a very nice light loaf of bread that I cannot have. Um, it's I look at some, it's like, oh, can you? I remember when I had surgery last year, and post op, they're like, would you like something to eat? And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of hungry. And they bring me a sandwich, and I'm like, it's a nice thought. I'll be having a cup of tea, please. There's can't have it. I can't have. It's one of the reasons I make my own bread. Is if I want bread, I kind of have to make it myself. I did cheat. I did get a bread maker. When it comes to taste and texture, each their own. Exactly. there's a kind of the running thing in the Dune Discord about pepperoni, pineapple on pizza. I'm like, it can be nice if you do it right. If you got to grill the pineapple. You can also go put it on burgers too. But I respect that people don't want that. I actually eat a lot of veggie pizza as I've gotten older because as much as I like pepperoni, it doesn't like me back. Pineapple pizza is kind of the community running joke of is it a thing or not? And then someone always brings up that apparently in Scandinavia there's something with bananas, and I'm just like, you. I am very particular about my pepperoni, but it again, it hates me back, so I tend to have I just get the veggie pizza these days. As much as I like it, it doesn't make me back. Now I want a big old supreme pizza with all the toppings. It is adaptive. I things like brioche bread. I love brioche bread, but by hand it is exhausting. Um, it's a lot of work, and you really need a stand mixer to make brioche bread efficiently because it's a lot of mixing, and I just don't have it. So I did get a bread machine so I could make breads because every now and then I just need some bread. I like my carbs. I like my carbs. A good spaghetti sauce, yeah. I can. It depends. Most of the time, I have mine without meat. Um, I don't mind a good meatball on the side, but I haven't had a good meatball in a long time. So I I've discovered I might have GERD, and that explains a whole lot of stomach problems that I've had over the years. And I'm like, I didn't get the heartburn with it. I just got all the other stuff with it. I'm like, it makes so much sense. So staying away from uh, pepperoni. There is a dish I wish I could make, but I can't find one. Speaking of spicy meats, there's a type of German sausage that you cannot get here. That yeah, silent GERD. That you really shouldn't eat on its own. It's kind of fatty on its own, and it's really seasoned. But I make a stew with it. You cut it out of the casings, or if you go to the butcher and get them to give it to you before it goes into the casing, it'll probably be a lot less labor intensive. But it's in a cream base, and so the cream takes a lot of the heat out of it, and the cream is fat anyway, so you really don't it makes the burn not so bad. I know, and I still haven't even baked this thing yet. I'm hoping. Um, I yeah, I want to learn how to make that, but there's this intimidation factor with the braiding part, and I'm like, what if I fuck it up? Then I would feel like I was messing up someone's cultural bread, and then there's this anxiety that I get about stuff. But brioche makes really good French toast too. Funny enough, when I never had brioche bread until that I knew of until I came to Europe, and then I realized that every time you went out to a really good burger place, you're like, "This bun is the bomb. Why aren't grocery store buns like this?" Because it's brioche bread. I need to figure out how to make the challah bread because it looks amazing. But again, there's this intimidation factor because you have to braid it uh, as part of the baking process. I guess but yeah, it looks amazing. Pretzels. We've done soft pretzels before with cheese sauce. I can make a homemade nacho cheese sauce that goes really good with the big soft pretzels, the big German style pretzels. My kid makes the better knots than I do. My knots are not very good, but um, they're really yummy. Big old chunks of salt on them. Num num. Okay, so this is 45 minutes into the thing. I'm going to set the timer for another 20 minutes. And in those 20 minutes, so that's about an hour to check these. And so I'm going to go ahead and start making the saucy stuff, I think. Let me double check what it has to say about the saucy stuff. Um, Medium bowl with a handheld stand. So make it while it bakes. So we're going to wait until it's baking. That way we can pour it directly on. If you've ever made these, you know that they don't last long after. Oh, coffee icing. So you're gonna whisk the confectioner's sugar, vanilla extract, and 2 to 3 tablespoons of strong brewed coffee, or swap milk for coffee to do a vanilla icing. So, but we're gonna do the cream cheese one. Coffee icing could be really good. It'd be like a nice coffee cake type breakfast thing. It'd be awesome. But you have to get up like stupidly early. You can freeze the dough, so you can do all of the work and then pop it in the freezer until the day that you're ready. And then, so to freeze it, you can freeze it 2 to 3 months, thaw overnight in the refrigerator, and then bake it in the morning. So on a day when you're feeling energetic enough to roll out a whole bunch of dough, you can do that. Freeze it and then warm it up. You can freeze the unbaked rolls, or you can freeze the dough. So that makes it easier. See, I don't want to do sushi because I like California roll. I know that's awful, but again, I'm allergic to soy, so that really has limited um, how much Japanese food I can have because there's a lot of soy in it. But I remember before I discovered I had the soy allergy, tempura, tempura vegetable, tempura shrimp, teriyaki. I love teriyaki. It does, you know, obviously I can't have it now, but num num, I would love it. Um, I'm kind of in a weird space with food because the I have to be mindful of my budget versus who's going to get to eat it. So I don't mind making something that only I will eat occasionally, but most of the time I have to kind of consider that too. Adaptive cooking is definitely a thing, and I think as much as I like rolling out or kneading bread dough, sometimes, especially with the mixing part, it's the kneading I can do. It's the mixing that is the problem, and especially on these counters which are so stupidly high. There's a recipe that I want to make for. It's called it's a dwarven pudding that's made with a lot of chocolate. It's a lot of chocolate. It's almost it's going to come out looking like this. Oh, so much chocolate in it, but it requires a lot of mixing. And then there's in the Fallout cookbook there is a quantum pie that uses an Oreo crust, which I can't have because soy. But there is a recipe for fake soy, for fake Oreo cookies, but you need to have the big flat beater thing in a blender because it just requires one. And so I'm like, oh, that's something I'm gonna have to love away. But someday, someday I will have. I know dwarven pudding. It looks amazing. These cookbooks look really fun. As if interest continues, I will be putting up polls on my Discord so people can help me decide what I'm going to make next. Once I get through these next few uh, ones that my kid has requested, because oh, you got hit with a bot. Unfortunately, on Restream, I can't see what you got hit with. Did you swear? Were you swearing? It doesn't like it when you swear. Don't be naughty. You have to learn. You have to get better with your innuendo. I know how you feel about elves. This is where you need to use the nerd talk. What about Frel and Freck? I know, same with like, oh, they're looking good. Those are going to be they're not even, but I think if we use the thermometer as well as it recommends, if where is it? Oh my lord, it's all out of shape. Um, when we bake it until lightly browned, if you notice tops are getting too brown too quick, you can put some aluminum foil over the top, and then we're going to use the thermometer to make sure that you're done because we don't want raw dough in the middle of it. I know Farscape Frel. and he's always been a good one. I every now and then I tell myself I'm going to get that on DVD just to have it, and then look at the price and like, okay, someday so when I get rich, there'll be signs and there'll be a whole bunch of nerdy stuff, including Farscape. Yeah, the bot does tend towards conservative. Um, I know, and Farscape was amazing. The Jim Henson's workshop, the practical effects, I remember them aging really well, and it was just a good story. Uh, and just some fun weirdness in Farscape that this is made for a good story. You know, I like those stories that make us ask kind of who we are. But you know, things like The Expanse, who are we? Ghost in the Shell, who are we? Blade Runner, who are we? Um, those questions. That's a great thing about science fiction, really. I think Scorpius is very capable of being cold and focused on his purpose. But I think the episode spoilers, the episodes where you learn about his backstory, where he's suddenly very sympathetic, and you're like, okay, I feel bad. That's some horrible stuff. But dude, you know, Scorpius had it rough, and then he just turned around and made it rough for everybody else. Like, Ghost in the Shell will never get old to me. Ghost in the Shell will always be the original animated one, not whatever movie thing they did. Um, because that's not Ghost in the Shell. It's not what that is. It missed the point entirely. It missed the entire point. Yep. Scorpius had it rough. I mean, just from his entire backstory was just like horror show. Um, and on one hand, he did what he had to, but I love Scorpius in Crichton's head. That Scorpius was awesome. Not in a he's not a fun guy. Just Crichton, stranger in a strange land, trying desperately to hold on to some scaffold of reality where he understood the rules. And that's why he was always dropping the stupid pop culture stuff because he's like, I know, because no one else knows. He's like, I need to hold on to this. This is something real. This is something from home. If otherwise, if I lose that mooring, I am unhinged and as lost in my mind as I am in space. If the belters and inners could stop trying to fight for 5 minutes, pretty much getting people to stop for 5 fucking minutes and just see what they have in line. Um, the line there's OPA and then there's OPA because there's people who don't go hard enough. Even in Dune, when after spoilers, after Paul becomes emperor and starts his jihad, and after a little bit, he's like, okay, maybe this is something we shouldn't do, and starts to roll it back. He starts to lose support with the Fremen because he's not going hard enough. And there's a schism because they're like, no, you have to go all the way. You have to you have to go full fucking genocide. You have to wipe them out. There's always going to be somebody in the group that you don't go hard enough. Star Wars, Saw Gerrera, you got to go hard enough. Hello, Kilo. There's always going to be somebody who wants you to go harder against the opposition. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't want to stop. And it's There's two reasons. The first is it's personal. Second is it's money. In Dune, it's personal. It's a whole lot of repression, and we're gonna get ours. And the Expanse is some of that, but there's also a whole level of manipulation. And initially, there was money involved with Mao and those guys. But yeah, I like exploring that in science fiction. I like exploring who we are, and it, the kind of the some things never change. War never changes. Neither do people. We can't seem to evolve past the this need to kind of sit on our little pile of stuff and defend it to the death when there's plenty of stuff. We don't have to sit on the pile anymore. I was talking to someone the other day about there was a theory in social evolution that we evolved in a way where we're having to chase down our food, and it takes a lot of energy to keep yourself alive and keep your progeny alive and what becomes your tribe, your extended family alive. And there is not enough to share. You're fighting over a water source that isn't lion and alligator and crocodile inhabited, or the cave that doesn't flood. Everything is a struggle for survival, and so you become very insular, and everybody else is not to be trusted. And we haven't really evolved past that. We have enough stuff now. We have enough stuff. And yeah, the Expanse nails it quite well. There's you got all these people sitting on Earth who can't work. So their universal basic income is barely subsistence. Children are illegal. There's all this horror show stuff, and it's like you could do something about that if you've got the technology to put people on other planets. You could do something about it, but you won't. YouTube channel called Generation Tech talks about a lot the politics and how being central to the extremes. Yeah, there's like I said, it's in every science fiction thing, really. I mean, it's easy to kind of make people afraid of stuff, of loss. We are as a species very worried about our survival, and we become very. It's easy to turn us against us versus them. I I don't know if it's cultural or if it's. I don't think it's genetic. I think because people as individuals can get past it, but in groups we just turn into dumbasses. If people start doing things for the betterment of mankind, I know, just for a little bit. It's instead of mind, just a little towards your neighbor. You know, things things would things would be a little better. Our brains aren't wired to believe there is enough. I think that could be part of it. I think especially when we've lived through hard times, combined with political pressures. Uh, I still worry about coming home when I was working, even the power being on, and is my freezer still safe? Is the water on? There's always something, and that was as a kid. I was coming home from school, and the power was off a lot. So that leaves a mark where you are always worried about basic stuff that we really shouldn't have to worry about. But it is what it is. How's this stuff looking? Also, because it's hot in here, I've got the fan going and putting it in the oven, even though the oven is completely off, keeps the cold air from blowing on it. These are going to be amazing, by the way. Star Trek is a post money utopia. They really don't need money for anything. You go to the thing and say, "Give me the thing," and the thing appears. Um, if you're dealing with other cultures, I guess they could say we could, but there's a post scarcity thing. There's no need for it. There was an episode of Next Gen where it was Samuel Clemens was talking to Troy, and he was pointing out, like, that the alien over there, do they know that they're slaves? Do they know that they're subservient to you? And Troy was like, we don't have that here. And he's like, no, it's always here. And she's like, no, we don't have that anymore. We don't have that. They're people, we come together because we want to. We work together like this because we choose to. And there's no subservience here. And just Samuel Clemens going, no, this is, people can't get over that. As much as he spoke out against it, I think he was, people just aren't going to let it go. And Troy was like, no, we got past all that. And ad. Hopefully the ads aren't too long. Star Trek people do things because they enjoy it. Exactly. You want to bake, you want to take music lessons, you want to go take dance lessons. How many times do we look at something and go, I would love to go learn how to ballroom dance, but I can't afford to take time off work. I can't afford the lessons. It's too much work to go. All of these things that Star Trek is just kind of hand waves away with this technology that, would be life changing. I think for a lot of people who have had to subsist on like nothing, we know how hard it is, especially when kids are around. We know how tough it can be and how far a little bit can go when someone reaches out and gives a little. There was a time when there were three food banks in the town I was living when I was in university, and they all had a 90-day cool on. So I'd go to one month, second one the second month, and the third one the third month, and then the fourth one I could go back to the first one. And that's how I made sure the kids were fed and clothed, because they had clothes in the closet too. Even with food stamps, it was this constant run around of trying to make sure your kids are taken care of. It's stressful, and it makes it very hard to get out of the hole. They don't make it easy to get out of the hole, but it's all good. So this has been going about an hour, and hold on, I got stuff. Hold on. Okay. I'm dreading kind of doing this because it's going to get loud. But what can you do, huh? Oh, I need water. Food stamps and food banks merry-go-round. Yeah, it's, and I'm in a weird spot now that food banks really aren't usable by me because I have food allergies and my kid's autistic. So it makes it look like there's a very limited, you know, stuff that are going to be consumed by us. And so I can't, I'm like, no, I can't have that. No, we can't use that. No, we can't use that. So I need some of that. Um, that makes things a little more difficult. Water. All right. So this has been sitting for an hour. It said hour and a half to let rise. Let's see what this looks like. Out of the way. So This is still not baked yet, but they have about doubled in size. They're trying to escape the pan, and those of you who had these know how good this is going to be. Oh, I can smell the cinnamon. Okay. And I only turned the oven on an hour ago to like 150 Celsius for like 2 minutes, turned it back off. This is still got a nice little bit of warm on it. So that was exactly what this needed. This is going to be fucking amazing. It's going to be amazing. All right. So to actually get it in the oven, preheat the oven to 375 Fahrenheit, 190 Celsius. No, these are going to be good. I don't know how often I'll make them because this is really labor intensive, but that looks fucking amazing. I've thought about doing stuff like cakes and things, but I wasn't sure people were going to stick around for 2 hours. And I'm seeing you guys stick around, and I love you guys. I love you guys. And then 24 to 27 minutes. So what I'll probably do is pop them in for 20 and then check to make sure they're not overly browned. I'm confused. You said earlier about not doing too hot because killing the yeast. Once it's risen, right? So while it's rising, you want the yeast to have a certain amount of activity. It's energizing with the sugar. It's doing its thing. Once it's done its thing and that's where I want it to be, now we can bake the fuck out of it and it's fine. I was very careful. This one, and that's a good question. When I popped it into the oven, I turned it to the lowest thing, pretty much enough to get it warm for like 2 minutes, and then turned it off so it would be a consistent temperature in the oven because I have a fan going. You don't want it too hot because it will kill it. You don't want it too cold because it'll kill it. So you have to be kind of finding this middle ground. You want the initial yeast to do its thing without killing it. Otherwise, it won't rise. It's risen now, and I'm trying not to nibble on that because that's amazing. And I'm going to set the timer. I set it for 20 minutes. And then we'll check it to see if it's brown. Start that. Oh, that's going to smell so, oh, it's so good. Oh. And then for the icing, so cream cheese. I need to measure out the cream cheese one last time. The measuring 113 grams. I just popped the rolls in the oven to start baking. And now I'm going to start putting the stuff together to do the icing. So softened cream cheese, we said 113 grams. The tear. Ounces, grams. 90, that's 91. 115, close enough. I know. I know. This food is not for diet people. Thank you so much for stopping in. I appreciate you coming by in the company. Definitely do your insulin. Really important to do. Dying is not fun, I hear. We did 113 grams of that. And then I need, how much butter do I need? I need 28 grams of butter because of course I do. Come on. It's 20. Oh, the butter. I know. This is not for people on a diet. This is not for people trying to watch their cholesterol. Not for people trying to watch their blood sugar. Unless you like watching it go up. 30? Close enough. Pop that in the fridge because that's getting really moist soft. All right, so we're gonna beat the cream cheese. Actually, I wonder. Yeah, it's gonna be loud, and I do apologize for this, but there's no way I don't think I can um, get that creamed by hand. I do apologize for that. It's gonna get vroom vroom. And as part of that, let's see, I'm going to unplug the laptop, which should have a battery. We should be fine. We should be fine, right? It should be fine. Be fine. Yeah. I'm going to try and do this very quickly. It shouldn't take too long, but um, it's it's the only way. Okay. So we're gonna whip this. If you're on headphones, mute. Okay. Soft and cream cheese whips really fast, by the way. Okay, and then the butter. Get in there. And 8 until smooth until combined. You go. This is why the hand mixer was invented. And then we're going to add the confectioner sugar and the vanilla. So the confectioner sugar is the powdered sugar, and we need 80 grams of that. All my bowls. Okay. Which is 2/3 cup. It's gonna be a little bit. I have I'm glad it's not too loud. You said 80 grams, 45 grams, 65, 81, close enough. 81 grams of sugar. And the vanilla, it needs 1 tablespoon of vanilla. Again, with vanilla, use the best you can afford. Vanilla is not something you really want to go cheap on the teaspoon. Um, I know some people have religious prohibitions against using vanilla extracts, so you can make your own, or you can get the alcohol-free stuff. It just won't taste it. So I'm glad y'all didn't hear that because it was thankfully not too loud. And a teaspoon of vanilla. This mic is really good if it didn't pick that up. Wait for my kid to come over here and go, turn it off. And we're gonna cream all this together. Here we go. That's good. This is good. No, no, no farting. Just yeah. So the mic did its job. I am muy impressed with the mic. Let me unplug that before I start tinkering with it, and then we'll plug the laptop back in. And so we need to clean that off well. That needs to be cleaned. Sway. That actually eases my mind about a lot of excess noise that can happen in streams. This is, I don't know if you can see that. That is really good looking. And so when that comes out of the oven, I can smell the cinnamon. Now, you're going to take a silicone spatula and we're just going to smear it all over the top and let it melt into it. It's going to be good. And this is why I'm wearing the apron, because I'm covered in powdered sugar. Powdered sugar kind of put my scale away here. It still has a few minutes left. You guys are real troopers for sticking with this stream for so long. A little ASMR noise clutter in the background of someone just babbling along about hopefully some nerd stuff. I'm trying not to go too political. I'm a glutton for punishment. I've pondered upon doing political stuff for TikTok, but then I'm like, I'm too old for TikTok. No one would watch it anyway, so okay. Some ideas just need to stay in your head. And then over here out of my way. Get that a little less messy, which I can tell you what, let me put my sugar away. Yeah. So I've got these containers. I'll fix that later. Turn it off my counter and start cleaning up some of the mess, getting it all off the side here. Remember, kids, don't actually put stuff on top of the stovetop because it might be hot. Yeah, and that's why if I do political stuff, it would be a totally different thing, because I don't want that to spill over and yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. There's lots of there's stuff I want to talk about, but so does everybody else, and it'd be very easy to get. Um, thank goodness, no one clipped that sound. But yes, all are welcome to cooking. Here we can set aside our political differences and enjoy the momentous occasion of 1,000 subs. Holy shit balls. Okay, I need to put some foil on those. Those are getting brown. But when a couple of years ago, I started a YouTube channel with Conan stuff. At about 18 months, I had like 800 subs. For a small channel with kind of niche content, it's getting there. But then I had a problem with YouTube and lost my email. It was linked to that. And so I had to start over. And I never actually thought I would get there again. It was going very slowly. And then suddenly, these are not done yet because I need to put foil on them so they don't overly brown. But can you see those? That's when you put the foil on. The edges are going to overly brown. And we want the inside cook without the outside burning. Ow, it's hot. Good. I was get a big enough piece of aluminium. Okay, get on there. Get on there. Get on there. Ow. And then let's pop this back in the oven. hopefully without burning the fuck out of myself. And I'm actually, because those are browning very, very quickly, I'm going to turn the heat down a smidge. There was a lot of gifted subs because there was the 100, and then someone else did like 75, and I think someone else did 5 or 10. It was wild. And Twitch. So that was a thing, but also getting the YouTube subs up has been a long process. So getting Conan stuff has kind of fallen aside a little bit. My Dune stuff has picked up really well. The cooking stuff's picked up really well. The podcast has picked up really well, and so it's been a thing. It's been quite wild. Sure. And I'm trying to enjoy the moment while I can. Well, one sec. All right, be right back. Hey, kiddo, I'm still on, but that's the frosting. Give that a taste. That has the teenager seal of approval. This is good. That's the plan. I have a lot of plans for lore stuff to talk about and lore and location stuff. They've asked us not to talk about content creators in general, not to dig into the lore too much until post launch because we don't want to spoil things. But even not even talking about the story, because there's like I said, there's these RPG elements of the story but there's like Conan, there's characters that have a story to them. We talked about it in the first podcast about the lab, that first lab, and if those of you who were able to play over the weekend or watch people play over the weekend, there's a story there, and kind of to talk about that and put the pieces together. A lot of the locations have something going on, and how they relate to the bigger story that is this alternate timeline where there is no Paul, and who are we and what are we doing? We are not we're not Paul, we're not the Kwisatz Haderach. So who are we and why are we here and how do we fit into this bigger universe? Yeah, I think there will be some creators who dip into lore. Um, but yeah, the difference between lore and story, the so trying to find that balance. We don't want to spoil the story because that's definitely something you want to run on your own. That's definitely something you want to experience on your own. And I don't want to be the one that ruins that. I'm kind of particular about that. If you want spoilers, you'll have to ask somebody else. But the lore and who's who and how these places fit into the bigger universe, like the eco labs. They've been closed up for a very long time, and they're invaded with different groups, and stuff happens, and how all of the major players interact. We know from the trailer that Leto lives. Jessica discovered the betrayal beforehand. She leans into her Bene Gesserit background more and becomes a truthsayer. So those things have changed. Um, who is doing what, where, and why, and the politics of the Imperium. You want to play Skyrim now? Someone like 2 years ago gifted me Skyrim, and I've never loaded it up, and I feel a little bad because it's a great game, and I hear you have to load like a bajillion mods. they've been a long time. Those labs have been closed a very, very long time. Liet Kynes, the goal of Kynes was to find those labs to and use them and the knowledge and the stuff that was in them to try and create these terraformed places for the Fremen where they would not be dependent. We probably do. It probably does, but I'm saying for like content and that people have talked about because Bethesda, you just need like a bajillion mods to get it to run ideally. Uh, and part of it's just energy, just spoons. I could only play like 1 or 2 games at a time. Someone gifted me Metro, and I said I'll play it, and it's got a custom keyboard layout, and I'm just like, I want to, I want to, I want to. But it did also trigger my vertigo. But trying to manage that and the keys. I started Stray. That thought it was supposed to be a cozy game. It is not cozy. I died like 19 times in 20 minutes. Uh, I tried. I need to try it back again because I want to get past this spot. It's like the first hard spot, and I died like over and over. And then it even has a pop up for you if you die the 9th time. And I'm like, oh, after that I lost track. That was a lot, and I was like, it was creepy, and then I just kept dying. Yeah, the giant mutant tick things is like, fuck are those? Yeah. And it started out so cute. You're like meowing and you're climbing around and making little bits. And it's just like, the fuck? Mm. Okay. So I'm sitting here in front of this oven. No wonder I'm hot. Um, our ideal temp internally, we said, needed to be around 200 Fahrenheit or 91 to 93 Celsius. Where is my thermometer? Hot. Oh my. Well, 91. And the reason I did it that way is not ideal, but the this pan is really hard to get out, and this so I don't want to drop it. Oh, gosh. So a couple of these are a little browner than what I would like, but you see that they do look good. Oh, they do. Okay, so the reason I like them in the pan is because now the inside bits are all gooey. They're not going to be as crispy. So now, using our spatula or knife, we're going to roll it over the top, and it says serve immediately. So let's see. Oh, this is very soft. And we're just going to smother the top because who needs arteries, right? Who needs them? They're overrated. Holy shit. So when YouTube asks me if this is family friendly for ads, totally bacon. Not a whole lot of swearing in it and innuendo. It's fine. Oh, I can hear my kid hovering over there. It's okay, kiddo. I will get you in a minute. I'm just hearing this pacing. Can you smell them? I've got a thumbs up. Yeah, they smell good, don't they? All right. Because that pan is really, really hot, I'm going to take the camera there to show you. That's what they look like. That is the cream cheese frosting. Yep. They look really good. All right, let's see if I can get them out of the pan. And then we will try some cinnamon roll, right? Mm. Oh, Lordy. Real good. Who needs to fit in their clothes anyway? One of the good things to come out of the pandemic, which is a horrible, horrible thing, you're wrong, was sea shanties and the social acceptance of pants with elastic waists. People at home, they're like, fuck it, be comfortable. And yeah. Trying to think of the best way to get this out of here. Because that pan is really hot. And of course, you cover them up. Now I can't see the edges. Oh no. Oh, fuck. Hmm. Look at that. That, my friends. Right. Let me feed my child first. All right, child. Try by that. They smell so good. What do you think? Pork. Oh yeah, they are hot. They just came out of the oven. Try that. You are welcome. And then we get this one loose. And then it just oozes everywhere. Got a thumb up? Okay. I hope so, because I just spent like 2 hours making these things. Mm. You have to taste test it and make sure it's acceptable before you give it to your child. Because you can give your child something that wasn't tasty, right? I mean, yeah, I'm seeing that. Hey, but it's good for my metrics, right? Mm, that is some amazing frosting. All right, so let's actually try the sweet roll here. Exactly, quality control. We have to make sure it's acceptable. And they are acceptably gooey. There's some. Mm, 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 that's good. For as much cinnamon as in there, I was worried that the cinnamon would be overpowering and see how much cinnamon is in there. But it's not. It's not. Mm, good. It was really good. Holy. So this recipe says it's supposed to take 20 minutes prep and then an hour to an hour, or an hour and a half, hour and a half to prep and then 20 minutes to cook. So this went way over for me. Um, but this recipe I will be making again, as tedious as it was. I think it'll speed up with practice, but I don't know if you can see it's gooey without being too soft. So I definitely, using the thermometer on the inside made a difference. So it's not greasy, which was the fear with all the butter. It turned out absolutely delicious. You can see the edge because I got the edge ones, and these turned out fantastic. Definitely two thumbs up. Mm, mm. So who needs dinner anyway? Meals are overrated. You only live once, eat dessert. On that note, we've been here for almost 3 hours. That shit's the bomb. Holy shit. It's sweet, but not. It's not like a mouthful of sugar sweet. It's definitely sweet. So if you don't like it so sweet, you could probably cut back on the frosting and make it a little less overpowering. I don't think it's overpowering, but I can see where some people might think it's too much. Um, but yes, definitely something I will do again. Um, stream. I hope like the week before Dune drops, which from before the 5th. Let's just go from the 5th because I think a lot of people are going to pick up that head start. So before the 5th, weather pending, sometime between the 1st and the 5th, I will be doing the Dune cookies, and then I'll also have the Tuscan chicken, the baked chicken, um, the Hobbit breakfast, and the Dune stuff queued up. That's 5 more um, cooking streams between now and the time I run out of steam. There will be more podcasts coming. I'm working on the next one. I don't have a timeline yet, but again, trying to chase people who are interested in coming and sitting with us and getting all nerdy with us is always a thing. And when the game drops, I'll be trying to stream that too. So I think it's time for me to wrap up. It's so hard to wrap it up though. Every time I say it's going to be short, and then it keeps going. But it is time to go. Thank everybody for coming. Thanks for all the subs and the follows. That really really helps. Again, if you're buying Dune, haven't done it yet, there is a link on my YouTube that would really be helpful if you can. And it won't cost you any extra, and I get a little tiny kickback. There, self promotion done. I think that's it. Did anybody else have any? I know, I know. Oh, Tuscan chicken! Yay! Yeah, it's creamy. It's gonna have sun-dried tomatoes and spinach and mustard. It's be good. So I will catch everybody next time. You can find me on Discord. It's the best place to catch me. My Discord is linked in my YouTube bio, I think. I will see everybody next time. Y'all have a good night and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.